All right, this is our India study guide for the test. I'm just going to kind of go through it here real quick and just kind of talk about the highlights of the study guide. Our test in the next class period, this is one way for you to study, is just sit here and listen. The Harappan people, these are people from northern India. Remember, they're the ones who were living on the northern side of India. They had a great culture going already. They were up near the mountains, and they created streets on a grid system. They had protective walls that went around their village, and then they also had a sewer system. They started living longer because they knew how to take care of themselves, and one way to take care of themselves was to get rid of human waste. We know that they traded as far away from Mesopotamia because their seals have been found all the way up in Mesopotamia. What happened to the Harappan people? No one knows exactly sure what happened, but a lot of people suspect it was the great earthquake that came into the region. It shook their houses down, it dried up a river, and then it flooded the area that they actually lived in, which most of the people were probably killed during the great earthquake, and the others that were remaining kind of fled in all directions, and there went their civilization. There were a few people that stuck around. They stuck around, and the next people that came through the mountains, these people came from the north and made it through the Hindu Kush mountain range, and these are the Aryan people. They were nomadic whenever they met them. That means they were moving around. They were kind of goat herders, and they made it through the mountain pass, and they came through. They lived in simple houses, spoke in Sanskrit, and they brought with them a mysterious religion. And the religion was Brahmanism, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But they organized their society into a caste system. The only thing that we need to know about this caste system is this. It was a way to place people in different jobs. Untouchables were at the bottom, all the way up to priests and scholars and teachers at the top. So lucky for me as a teacher, I would be at the top, which is where I guess I should be. Untouchables had a terrible job. They sweep the cities. They weren't really treated like they were humans, and they had to remove dead bodies from their villages. That was kind of, they had to go in and take care of that. There must have been a bunch of dead bodies back in the day. I'm not sure, but that is a job that they had to do. And the Brahmanism is that religion that they brought with them. All right, this part of the study guide is a huge part of the test. What you really need to do is just go right down this list and know everything about Hinduism. You need to know everything about Buddhism, and then you need to know which one is both. The both one is pretty easy. We're going to talk about it. But Hinduism came from Brahmanism. You only go one step at a time on the caste system. The Bhagavad Gita was their sacred text, believed in many gods but had one supreme God, and then must achieve a mystical union with God to end the reincarnation. What that means is they reincarnated one step at a time up the caste system, and then finally when they were at the top, like a teacher, scholar, or a priest, that's whenever they went straight up here to wherever they believed in, and that's where they stayed. So you reincarnated every time until you got to your final place. The next one, Buddhism. Based on the teachings of the prince, remember this guy, SG, that's what we called him, SG, believed in the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Dharma was their book. So if you go straight across, Bhagavad Gita is the Hinduism book, Dharma, the Buddhism book. Hinduism believed in many gods. This one just believed in one, which is Buddha as the divine being. And then their word is nirvana, which meant a level of understanding, and it ended reincarnation because what happened is they could skip their way up the caste system. If they were able to get this nirvana, what they believed, they could just start here at the bottom and go whoop right on up to the top and be done. They could also drop all the way down. When we look at both, we know that both began in India. We know that both deal with reincarnation. We know that both deal with meditation. We know that both talked about karma. Karma is good deeds cause good things, bad deeds cause bad things, so they went back and forth through it all. And then finally, and then many individual paths to their God, which means It depended on how you moved up and down the caste system was how you did there. Not everybody went at the same rate or at the same time. That's what it means. So if you know this chart, you will know most of the test. I'll also tell you, though, everything else on this study guide is probably on the test, too. I know for a fact every answer to the test is on this study guide. Reincarnation means you live many lives. Karma, a word in the Hindu faith. I could also say it was a word that dealt with the Buddhist faith, which meant you do good things happen to you. You do bad things happen. Nirvana, a word used in Buddhism. It is, you have to make it to the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, and you could skip places on the caste. Monotheism and polytheism. You have to know that the word mono means one. Poly means more than one. So monotheism means belief in one God. Polytheism, belief in more than one God. It's pretty easy that way. Mono means one. Poly, a lot. What are some advancements of ancient India? These are all things that ancient India did. They got better with their buildings, like architecture. They built temples and sculptures, and they had paintings. They had Sanskrit plays. They looked at math, science, and metal. I'm going to change this word to just metal. They were able to take metals and make them even stronger for different weapons and things. They had a number system, 1 through 9. They came up with the number 0. They had a decimal system. They improved the length of the year, and they were sure that it was 365 days. They came up with the value of pi. They started working with medicine and metalworking, like we talked about. All right, monsoons. I know that this is on the test as well. Monsoons, a lot of people just think monsoons are a big old rainstorm. They're not. Monsoons are winds. And in some time of the year, they bring rain. And other times of the year, they just bring dryness. So the monsoons in India, they're seasonal winds. It's dry in the winter, wet in the summer, which means right after the monsoon rains come through, that's how the farmers knew to plant their crops. Now, don't get confused by the word winter, because that's their growing season. Remember, in India, most of it is warm. When it would normally be cold here, it's warm there. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Do we have any questions for clarification? I'm talking with my first group here. Any questions at all on anything that might be on the test? Let's see what they come up with. All right. Here's what I would do. No questions, which means it must have been explained perfectly. I would just listen to this about 10,000 times, and then you'll have it. Download it, put it in your earpod so that you can, earpods, listen to it through your earpods. Don't I sound old? Listen to it through your earpods and play it for the family. Say, here's something great. So just listen to it, make note cards, do it, but there is a lot. I cannot stress enough, you have to know all of this. In fact, think about, this is a question on the test, this is a question on the test, this is a question on the test, this is a question. Right in through here, I can see 15 questions on the test, right there, off that one chart. So somebody said, how do I make this chart into note cards? Well, you could do this. This is one note card. What religion grew out of Brahmanism? And then on the back of your note card, you would put Hinduism. What religion makes you only go one step at a time on the caste system? And then on the back, you put Hinduism. What religion uses the Bhagavad Gita as their sacred text? Hinduism. Do you guys got it? That's the way it works.